We are back on the road to City Hall. Most people know my next guest is the billionaire owner of the Catsimatidis supermarket chain. He also briefly ran for mayor back in 2009, but pulled out of that race once term limits were lifted and Mayor Bloomberg was allowed to run for a third term. This year, he has thrown his hat back into the ring and is a Republican primary candidate. John Catsimatidis joins us to give us an update on his current campaign for mayor. Good to see you, sir. How's it going out there?
It's going very well. Thank you for having me back again. And I'm doing what I've always done all my life, working very hard, working till 11 o'clock every night, working 7 days a week, hitting every borough, hitting every neighborhood. You know, New York is made up of 75, 100 neighborhoods. And I remember what Hillary did back in 2000 when she was running for Senate. She hit every county in New York State. She wore out 3 pantsuits and wore out 3 20-year-old staffers.
She called that a listening tour. Is that something that you're doing?
Yes, I am doing that because I'm not only running the September primary, I'm running November. So we have 2 teams out there running September and running November, and we're putting the money out there. We're doing radio advertising. We're going to start television advertising next month, and we're doing print advertising. I think our first print hit today. We're out there to do what we have to do to win.
Okay. I've heard some of your radio ads. I know you're out there. Let me ask you about something that was said last night. You were at a forum, and these happen, I don't know how many times a week, 5 or 10. It seems like there's two or so every day.
Dozens.
But the question came up about, do humans contribute to or cause global warming to a significant extent? And you were the only candidate at the forum last night who said that you don't think so. You were either skeptical or just don't think it happens.
I also said I'm the one that tells the truth and not what the audience wants to hear. I tell the truth. We're not sure. Nobody's really sure if the environment, how it's being affected. But what I'm doing is I'm doing everything that I know possible to help the environment just in case they are right. So of all the candidates last night, I'm the only one that has experience with the environment. We started 12 years ago. We put generators in the East River to generate electricity for our Roosevelt Island store. Halfway through the process, people were complaining that the generators were killing fish. So we had to take the generators out, put new generators in that prevented the fish from getting killed. But in all of that process, we only have enough electricity from those generators to run the cash registers in the store. We're building the biggest biodiesel facility in Brooklyn in the country, one of the biggest. And we're doing that right now. So I'm doing what I have to do for the environment. I believe in fixing and keeping the environment proper.
Well, I heard from on the radio this morning, the head of the League of Conservation Voters said that your beliefs were a little unorthodox, but that on policy you seem to be where they wanted you to be.
Yes.
So it's an interesting distinction. But on a related question, the question came up of, is there too much car traffic below 59th Street? And you said you don't think so.
Well, New York City is the biggest city in the world. And do we have traffic? Yeah, we have days that we have a lot of traffic, and we have days when we don't have traffic.
We have some of the highest asthma rates, too, though. I mean,
the asthma rates
right?
The asthma rates in our poor neighborhoods are caused by the pests. And a lot of them the city has become a slumlord almost in these housing projects. Our biggest asthma problem are in those housing projects that the city is not taking proper care of.
So you don't,
and in addition,
you don't think it's due to particulate
I don't think it's due to cars,
from the diesel trucks and so forth?
No, but we should cut it down if we can cut it down. But the additional thing in those housing projects, 20%, Earl, of the city's crime is in those housing projects. I committed that day one, the first month I am mayor, I am going to put 3 shifts of policemen in every building. There's 325 buildings responsible for 20% of the city's crime. What we did with the railroad, with the trains, subways years ago, a cop on every subway, we put a cop on every platform. Let's fix that 20% in crime in those buildings. Those people deserve to be safe.
Okay, I want to.
Don't forget, I came from those neighborhoods.
Understood. Let me ask you. There's something else that was in the news recently, which was right after those horrible attacks in Boston. Your consultant put out a memo saying this is something. It was sent out to all of the Republican Party chairs, saying this is something we should capitalize on politically. I mean, he didn't use those words, but he basically said this underscores Catsimatidis' focus on public safety.
I have supported safety in our streets all my life. I grew up in the streets. I've supported Ray Kelly and what he does.
Well, here's the question: Was that the right moment? If you could do it again, would you maybe have waited a day or two before?
No, I didn't do it. It was somebody in my staff that did it, and maybe they were wrong, maybe they were right. But the fact is, we can't give the streets back to the hoodlums. If I'm elected mayor, and I plan to be, tell the hoodlums to get out of town.
That was terrorist, though. That wasn't simply.
Well, terrorism, I think, is even more important. That what Ray Kelly is doing is he is double checking the feds, the FBI, and the CIA. He's got his own terrorist staff that he relies on. So I feel that we're double safe in New York City. And I've made a statement. When I introduced Ray Kelly at the PAL lunch a couple of weeks ago, I said to the audience, I said, any of the mayoral candidates running that are not supporting Ray Kelly and his work, don't vote for them.
Let me ask you about the political corruption scandal that was also part of the news of the last few weeks. And one of the people arrested was your attorney, Vince Tabone, who was not only your attorney for your campaign, but also your attorney for your for part of your business empire.
Well, we in the New York office, we have about, I don't know, 10 in-house attorneys. So he was one of 10 in-house attorneys.
Was it a mistake to hire him?
You know, up to the point where he had a problem. He had a good record. He never did anything wrong in his life. You would hire him too. He never did anything wrong in his life. He had a good family. He had a wife that's an assistant school principal. He had 3 beautiful kids. You know, I am disappointed.
You've been around money and lawyers for a long, long time. And as mayor, you'd be hiring more lawyers. I mean, was this? Did he fool you? I mean, what do you think happened?
I think he, like a lot of our political people, they are around money all the time, and especially our politicians, and maybe they end up getting greedy and say, well, you know, the guy that took $1 million from Bloomberg was in Queens too. So maybe he felt that, well, maybe it's my turn. I don't know. I pray for his family. His family is a very nice family. I hope it works out.
Okay. You mentioned Queens, and there's been quite a lot of infighting, actually. And Councilman Eric Ulrich, who, well, let me just tell you what he said and get your reaction. City Councilman Eric Ulrich said this about you, Mr. Catsimatidis, quote, he's a buffoon and he will never get elected mayor in New York. The people who are telling him he can get elected are all on his payroll, and he needs to get out of the race as soon as possible. What is your reaction to that? Well, and what's going on in Queens?
You're talking to a 26-year-old kid. So give me a break. You know, I've won. People have counted me out all my life. Born on a Greek island with just rocks on 135th Street in Harlem, and I became one of the most successful businessmen in the United States, not just in New York City. I hope people underestimate me.
Well, I mean, that's fair enough. But on the other hand, though, Mr. Catsimatidis, I mean, you also know when you've got something on the shelf in the supermarket and people aren't buying it. You know, and I'm looking at the polls, and they're showing that you're at 8%. You're behind George McDonald, who's spent a fraction of the money you've spent on ads.
Well, you know, give me a break, Earl. Look at the poll a little carefully. They took the poll of 188 people. That whole poll is 188 people, and you're going to make a statement out of that? Well, look at the Staten Island poll yesterday. The Staten Island poll yesterday. Somebody called me up, and he said that either I was on the top 2 or 1 or something like that. It's all about getting around. You know, all these professional politicians have been around for 10 years. I've been doing this for 90 days. So give me time. Well, give me another 60 days. Give me another 60 days to catch up.
You may be 90 days as a candidate, but you've been in and around this.
Well,
stuff.
Manhattan, yes, but not in every borough. Give me 60 more days, and you'll see where we're going to be.
Okay, we'll see you out there on the road. I know I'm going to be moderating more candidate debates. I think you're in at least one or two of them, so we'll see you again real soon.
Thank you. I look forward to it.
Okay, thanks a lot. We're going to take a short break now. Still to come, the New York One Wise Guys will discuss Anthony Weiner's return to the social media site that led to his political demise and ask what it means regarding his possible intention of joining the mayor's race. Stay with us.